The Ken, I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on the Ken Jones music. Every week.
21-6 the net. You're caught in the net. Of course, this is Bridging Civil Attention. He's Phil Wallace. I'm Kent Jones. And entrepreneur, Phil, author, all-around good guy. And of course, we got some great guests with us this week. We'll introduce here in a second. But we here, Bridging Civil Attention, feel it's better to have a conversation and build a bridge. We've got some great topics to talk about today. We'll talk a little bit about the swim caps and some things going on with the Olympics, right? And of course, the Success Journey podcast. So let's get straight away right into it. And for those of you out there listening, you're going to notice the voices that we have from the Success Journey podcast. We've got Marlon Madden and Ricky Vinters with us, two guys I'm thrilled to call friends and thrilled to have on the air here at 21-6. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, man. Honored to be here this morning.
What do we say? Travelers, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Travelers around the world.
That's it. Glad to have you guys in with us. And you guys, the podcast is fantastic. You're getting ready to kick off a new season.
Yes, sir.
And it's season number
5.
Awesome.
Yeah. We
change the world, which is amazing. And just love the show. And it's on. We air it here on 21-6 on Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Central. But you guys do it live on.
Yeah, we go. Well, if you're on Pacific time, then it's 9 p.m. On Tuesday evenings, but it's 12 midnight on Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays.
Yeah, growing, and they're huge. So these guys have just incredible guests and cover incredible topics. And if you want inspiration and you want to be successful, they're the Scottie Pippen to your Michael Jordan.
I love
it. Hey, this morning we want to talk about a couple things before we jump into the Success Journey podcast. But so there's an article out there. What's her name with the swim cap? She's from Britain, right? So the Olympics are coming up here shortly, and people are qualifying for the Olympics. And there's a young lady who qualified for the Olympics, like one of the fastest swimmers in Britain. And she, here it is, I got it. And she is not going to be able to, she's not being allowed to wear the swim cap that is designed for her natural hair. Right. It's called the Soul Cap. It was created by Alice Deering, I think, which is or is it Alice Deering who is the swimmer?
Alice Deering is the swimmer.
Okay. So the hat's made by Soul Cap. Right. So basically what they've done, if you look this up, 100% of the swim caps used they look like me, you, and Marlon, right, Bill? Not
Right. That's so much.
I mean, they fit
like that, yeah.
Really, Ricky.
Yeah.
but they fit tight, and they're supposed to tuck your hair in so that you shave time off your swim. There's
Right.
not the drag.
Yeah.
And this sport has been dominated by
Non-African American, non-minorities.
non-minorities.
Right. Say non-minorities.
So do you see an issue that she probably has nice? I don't know. I haven't seen her without the cap on.
Right.
But so they designed the swim cap to cover her hair, so she doesn't have to shave her head to go to the Olympics. Right.
Beautiful young lady.
Yeah, beautiful young lady.
You know.
Yeah. And
Natural
it's
curly
not like
hair.
dreadlocks. She's not wearing them down to the back of her butt or anything. Just her hair. And the Olympic Committee is saying, no, that's not the shape of your head, so you can't use it. What's your take on it?
I've never seen any other race with so many regulations on here.
Okay.
Corporate wise, now Olympics. But I never saw anything corporate wise that says you couldn't have spiked haircuts. That's not African Americans. I don't see anything in Olympics where you couldn't have any other style. But for whatever reason, a swim cap is now an advantage. What would be the issue?
I don't know. What's your take on that, guys?
I don't. I'm with you. Like some of the regulations, like when I see they're saying California is allowing dreadlocks to come into the workplace now, and people are taking it as a win. I'm like, why was it not allowed? You know what I'm saying? This you're not going to graduate because you have dreadlocks.
Right.
I'm like, you let this person come to the school and go the whole year, obviously,
Or four.
because and they filled all the requirements for graduation, and now you're saying somebody can't swim because of their hair. The cap. Sometimes I'm just so lost that I'm just like, I don't understand it. I can't. I know what the underlining is, but I can't understand it. Like, why?
I've genuinely tried to be like, okay, that's not the race thing. Let's not. But I just don't see it happen any other situation. Like there was the wrestler where the wrestling coach kid cut his dreads before he wanted to wrestle. If anything, me with dreads is a disadvantage because you could probably get a lock on and then.
Correct.
Just to
were those your wrestling moves right there?
You saw that?
Right?
My wrestling move is Stone Cold Stunner, right? So, but I don't understand how. Again, none of my friends from Crystal Lake South with spike haircuts or spike necklaces or spike they didn't have to do any of this extra stuff just to participate. And then working in the corporate world and staffing and hearing things about yes, in corporate world, dreads are unprofessional. Why?
Why? People have face tattoos.
Right. This chick has a blue. Half her hair was blue, half her hair was pink, and she's got a skunk hat on. But she's allowed to be a receptionist. But Marcus can't have natural dreads. Explain this to me. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I can see if it was. I'm speaking as the resident expert in hair.
That's what you are. That's what we're doing right now. Okay.
As you see, the experience here. But I could see if it was given an advantage, right? I could see if, all right, her having this cap was going to give her less drag. The shape of the cap actually provides more drag in the water for her, with it not being tight to her hair. So why wouldn't they allow her to participate with it and use it? It doesn't make sense, man. And it really is. It stems off of, I think this year, a lot of things are being exposed on a lot of different level as to rules and things that were in place. How relevant are they? And it goes across gender, across race, or whatever it may be. What's the relevance of it versus just tradition of, being in place, So yeah, it's crazy.
And I said the same thing, Ricky. I'm like, well, it kind of gives her a disadvantage then, doesn't it? I mean, and I don't know. Maybe that thing flops around. I don't know. Right? I mean, they must have designed well. Now, what I did is I looked up swim caps for Olympics, right? And according to the 2020 FINA Olympic Rulebook, manufacturers of new styles of swimwear and caps that include quote unquote a new design, construction, or material must quote submit the swimwear to FINA to obtain its approval before it is used at a competition. The rule also states that swimmers, they are permitted to wear 2 swim caps. So now, if you can wear 2, I don't understand why this girl.
But similar to the graduation thing, though, you knew who this girl was for a long time now. This is not her first appearance wearing a soul kit.
Correct.
So why would we wait until this situation where now she's going to be on a global platform? You knew this is what she wore. So, hey, listen, before you get to this point where you're going to try out for the Olympics, you may want to have this submitted. You may want to look at this conversation could be done a long time ago. But once you see her dominating and realize she's
had several, 4 years, 5 years to talk about it. Right?
Years.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember back when Phelps was swimming, he would start to wear this like full bodysuit.
Yes.
And they were like, no, you can't wear it because it gives you an advantage, right? So it's understandable, remove the full bodysuit because you're at advantage in the water. Okay. Now for something like this, it's like, what? Wait, make logical sense for me here. Cause it really isn't, right? But at the same time, I heard someone say this week that, when you're the governing body, and no matter what's allowed in different states and what's allowed in different countries or whatever is allowed, is that as that governing body, if we want to say what goes, guess what? We're going to say what goes.
Right.
And that right there shows the example of power and utilizing it to their strength. So now the questions going forward is, how do we set up so that we can influence that decision making before we get to the stage, right? Before we get to the performance, right? Let's have this conversation before the Olympics starts or before the graduation is at place, so that when we get to these moments when it matters, we're not stuck at a disadvantage. Why? Because the rules are changing or the rules are enforced at the last minute.
I'm just surprised though. With it being the Olympics, you would think they would have something in place that's encompassing all these different nationalities that are going to be participating in the games, right? To have, this country, all countries included, but say, but the rules are only made for this body of person. And if it's not fitting for this body of person or specified for this body of person, you guys got to deal with it. You can come play, but you got to have it, make sure that everything fits for Kent's body or for Kent's hair. But sorry, person from this country, sorry, person from this country, we're not going to make anything for you guys.
Your jersey you can't wear because you have a dad bod.
Right.
It's not form-fitting.
Equal for everyone, but it's got to be fit for us.
So what the Olympic Committee said, right, is that it wasn't the shape of her head. That's what they said in that article. It was like, we can't allow it because it's not the shape of your head. And you're like, what?
Because it's not that
right. So the interesting thing is, though, that's like saying, hey, Vince Carter, you can't wear those Nikes because you jump higher than everybody else.
Yeah. The shocks. You can't have the shocks in your shoes.
Yeah, right.
Not the shape of your foot.
D. Brown, the reason you won the slam dunk
pumps
because you had the pumps. Yeah. And so to me, again, like Ricky was saying, it's kind of interesting. Is wouldn't it slow her down?
Right.
And now those full body suits, they do wear those. Everybody.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
So now it's accepted, but
then it's even more interesting to see who they adjust for and who they don't adjust for,
or who they put on the panel. Or it's kind of like how you have like what you say, the Grammys, and you have all these different award shows, and you have somebody that's not tied to a genre of music that's saying that this person from this genre of music should win Best Album of the Year, and everybody in that genre of music is like, Nah. So the same thing. You have a panel. You have some kind of governing body, like Ricky's saying, that's making these decisions, these rules. But is it who's in that representation when it comes to that governing body? I think sometimes that's why they miss the mark, or not sometimes. That's why they miss the mark is because they don't have somebody that's saying, "Hey, listen, did you think of X, Y, Z, this person, that person?" And I think a lot of times there's just a representation that they don't have that's causing some of these strifes and problems. Or are they looking for publicity? Like, yo, if we do this, everybody's gonna start watching the swim for this particular
Right.
swimmer.
Let's spin it to the other side. You're the athlete. You know the rules, right? And you're like, okay, you guys are going to pay me some money to wear your swim cap, right? I'm sure there's money involved there, or I'm getting free gear or whatever, right? And it's been your dream to go to the Olympics. Do you go, well, because I can't, because you're telling me to shave my head now, or I can't wear this cap that's designed for my hairstyle? I'm not going to go.
That's a good question. I mean, 'cause as you were saying that too, Ken, I'm like, man, there are remedies around not wearing that swim cap too. On the other side of it,
Yep.
She can definitely plait her hair and have her hair braided up, and then use a regular swim cap. I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it, but then it goes down to I don't know where she wants to stand with it. What message does she want to send at the end of the day, as to what direction she goes in? What battle does she want to fight? At this moment.
I feel like it's I'm with Ricky as far as there are ways around it. I feel like it's being made an example of, are you going to have a voice and stand up though, or are you going to fit on the rest of the plantation?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Right. You're gonna have all the rest of y'all think that you can revolt and say something and speak out against this, or are you going to fall in line like a good boy, a good girl, like you're supposed to, and not ruffle any feathers?
Yeah. It's true. It's tricky because first of all, I never want to tell anybody what to do, because you don't know how much weight that person can take on their shoulders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Point, you have the tennis player that says, I just can't. They ask crazy questions in the interview, and it's causing my mental health, and I don't want to tell that person what to do. Right. Now, if this person, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of stuff will change if we don't do the fall in line. I'm not the fall in line guy. However, I'm not
ironic, Mr. Miller, Mr.
Yeah.
I just picture like, if Scotland was in the Olympics and there was shot put, and the guy decided to shot put in a kilt, which right for their heritage, and that's just what they do. I don't think the Olympic game was like, yo, put some pants on, bro.
Correct.
Depends how follow-through it is. Because what I understand, they don't wear anything under the kilt. So
that's what I was going to say.
You spin around your kilt.
Right. Melissa, Mel, thanks for joining us. When I was on a swim team and I put my hair in a ponytail, the bump from the ponytail didn't look like the shape of my head, LOL. Some of the girls I've seen swimming have huge bulges from their ponytails. I just feel like it's a way to keep her from swimming. I don't know. It's just silly. A swim cap. I wish they would let her swim and let her beat everyone, even with the quote-unquote drag from her soul cap. Right. And you're welcome for allowing me to read that as if I was in the third grade.
I was happy you didn't say, hey, Marlon, could you read? We're Marines, man. We eat crayons.
That's right. So, and here's what I say, especially for swimming, wrestling, cross country. This is the stage. This is, as a kid, this is what you were born to do. This is it. I mean, this is your mecca, right?
Yeah.
And are you quote unquote falling in line if you're chasing your dream? Now, my hair will grow back, and then perhaps I can be a voice for this after I win my gold medal, or after, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. From a standpoint of an athlete, man, I've trained and my times are killer. Again, what cross am I going to bear? Am I representing my country? Am I representing my family? Am I representing, my heritage? Now,
I'm with you. It's a tough decision. It's just when you sit back and see that only one side has to make these adjustments.
right, but she comes from, right, and I don't know. I'm not a historian. You are. Were there slaves in England? I don't.
Definitely.
Probably.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Definitely.
Right.
Right now, Jamaica's in some contention with England, because I'm Jamaican, that they're saying that they need reparations for all the Jamaica itself as a country wants reparations from England because of the slavery, the enslavement of the Jamaicans through England.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just, and that's a tough thing. There's not always the freak athlete like Phelps who swims for 22 years and wins 800 gold medals.
Right.
I mean, this girl's shot, right?
He wore those medals when he was smoking a bong on social media, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. I didn't want to.
I remember those medals because it was a picture of him smoking.
Well,
I remember seeing those. Yeah.
I remember those medals.
Right.
I remember those medals.
They were shiny.
So
You could see them behind the haze.
So to me, I mean, let's take it out of the Olympics. Marlon, you're in the military. I mean, you get the honor to be at the inauguration.
Yes.
And handle the United States flag, right? Now that's awesome,
right?
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah.
So when it comes to work, the workplace, and the business,
right?
I need that job, right? I mean, am I going to be a good plan,
right?
Or do I need that job to support my family?
Yeah.
Okay. For instance, like in the military, you have to cut your hair to a certain regulation, right?
Yes.
Low cut, right? So Marlon would do that to serve his country, but imagine Marlon having to sit back and look at you with a spike haircut. That's not allowed.
Correct.
Ricky's haircut's not allowed. Your spikes are.
but there is contention even with here in the military. Watch this. And oh boy, I'm not going to get in trouble. This is, I guess, I think I'm not. So the Marine Corps regulation for here is 3 inches to 4 inches you can have on top of your head.
Yeah.
Now for my Caucasian fellas, they could have their hair as high and then slick it back. You could have it more than 4 inches if you wanted to, and slick it back because, you understand what I'm saying? Because it'll lay down and it won't be high. But for Ricky, that has hair of what I had here, if I grow my hair to a certain height, there's no slicking back. There's none of that.
Right. So
even that was a contention between us. Like, this guy has more than the regulation says, but he's just able to slick his hair back. And let's pull it up and then check it. Oh, he's high. Now you're going to tell him to cut it because I brought it to your light. But
true.
So it happens everywhere. And to talk about the what you said, Ken, about being the thing about the military is we have to be apolitical, right?
Right.
That's even a contention because you're apolitical. Only you see other people when stuff was going on, they were jumping in front of everything, saying what they wanted to say. But we try to be as apolitical as we can because what we understand is that we're sacrificing for you to be able to kneel. So when you see a military guy going, "Oh man, with a Kaepernick," you fought for that person to have the freedom to kneel,
right?
If they choose to,
right.
And that's how I look at it. I'm apolitical when it comes to the outside realm, and then when it comes to when Rick and I sit down and talk, and I'll voice my opinion. Even sometimes within our close circles in the military, we will voice our opinion to say, "Hey, this is why I'm not going to do this, man. I don't think this is right in terms of X, Y, and Z, and I don't feel comfortable with this." But at the front to show when it comes to showing unity between all the services, we try to be apolitical as possible.
Right.
I think when for myself, when I'm getting involved in something and the rules are written, right? So I know what to expect.
Right. Correct.
I think that's different, I'm okay with that, right? Because I'm making a conscious decision to join or be a part of something, knowing what the rules and the regulations that I got to adhere to, right?
Yeah.
But the problem that I have is when you have those gray areas that arise that, similar to the cap here, that, oh, we got to get approval for the cap. It's not our first time swimming with the cap. She's swam with the cap before, with trials and things of that nature. So why is it now coming to contention? Why is there now a debate about it? That's where I kind of draw the line. Is like, man, that it's not right, and that's where I look at it and you say, what am I willing to sacrifice? And really, it kind of depends on the stage you're on, honestly, and what you want your legacy to be remembered as, you a lot of people, especially, people, the descendants from Africa, many times, we don't have the stage to really leave a stamp on this world. You have a handful, quite a bit of people that have done it, and you read about in the history and like, wow, they really left the impact. So I think a lot of us in our minds is when we get that opportunity or that stage, there's always that moment of this deciding, okay, do I go with the flow? Do I just, stay in my lane, or do I just conform to what they're saying? Or do I use this as a point of saying, hey, let's bring more awareness to this point to bring more equality for people of African descent in this world? And I mean, I think it's an unfair thing because you're always thinking about that on your job. You can't just walk into your job and just do an okay job. You're always thinking about, okay, how is my job of reflection going to reflect on other African-American Black people that come behind me? How did the people that came before me that were Black, how do they represent? What am I stepping into? What do they see me as? There's always that thing that you're going. So I think it's very hard, especially with the stage that she's at now on the global stage, saying, hey, okay, what are you going to do? Because I best believe there are people saying, hey, this is your dream. This is what you want to do your whole life. Just do whatever you got to do to get in that water. And then there's other people in her ear like, hey, this is your time. This is your opportunity to make your stand for our people. And then she has to make that decision on her own now to say, okay, what direction am I going to go?
It could be like the Gwen Berry, we talked about, she has situations as far as on the national anthem, sitting on the podium where she looked at the crowd instead of the flag,
Yeah.
right? Rewind back to 2019 when she raised her fist. They suspended her for 2018. They suspended her for a year. They went back then and said, hey, we were wrong. We apologize. If you'd like to kneel, if you'd like to raise a fist, we understand. But it's because she ruffled feathers that now they're accepted. So do you take the opportunity to say,
well, yeah, I mean,
we should
you
be able to?
You go back to the 60s, right? Where it was,
Yeah.
right, and raise the wrist. To Ricky's point is, how are you using the platform that you have, right? Now, hey, Jordan, he draped the flag over his shoulder. You're not supposed to wear the flag either, right? So for everybody who fought for people's rights, he draped the flag over his shoulder to cover up Reebok. Why? Because he's getting paid millions from Nike. Right?
Nike, yeah.
I'm not going to give Reebok the opportunity to get a shot at me with this more in my mouth, right? Now, that was a big thing, but that was his way of saying, no, right? But he did not wear it, right? So he just said, here's how I'm going to protect my financial interests. And I agree. Yeah, I've had several discussions with people. Yeah, the rules are the rules. Now, the rules change, right? But I don't know. It just says it has to be passed. I read in the article it has to be the shape of your head. And I'm like, well, everybody's got weird shaped head. I mean, So,
but how could you not think of somebody's here, though? Like you're saying, we're not only in the Olympics for one set of people. So when you say the shape of your head, did you think everybody was just going to come in bald? I don't understand what was the rationale. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, it's not like that little swim cap's got a motor on the back. Can you have that outboard on there? I don't know. But
maybe that's what makes her so fast.
That's right. As an athlete, as a college athlete, as you were, as I was, as you guys are athletes as well, it'd be like, listen, I'm going to win this gold medal, and I'm going to stand up there with soul cap all over me, And as they're playing the anthem, I'll in my mind I'll give you a big F you.
Right.
That's me, right? I've never. I mean, I had a mullet back in the day, So in high school, playing basketball, I looked like a Native American. Cause
I feel like if you swim, that'd be a rudder.
yeah. And the issue I have as an American, right? I have an issue for people who don't want to honor our national anthem, right? Because you're there representing America, and you're that's the flag, and the song is what the country stands for. Now I don't, she's upset with the third or fourth course. I don't know it. I've never heard it, never sang it, so I can't fight on that, right? But there are people out there, Marlon, who have fought for the freedom of people to do that, but also fought for the same right for people to be upset for people who do that.
Right. Correct. So we can't wrong you for being upset. You have, and that's the thing about it. The same flag that you're saying that you want her to stand for, if you look at the totality of what America in writing stands for, is the freedom to do exactly what she's doing, and at the same time, the freedom for you to feel that way. And that's what I don't like. The thing I don't like is like where people saying like it's only my way or the highway. You have a right to feel how you feel, and she has a right to feel how she feels. And then all that it is a lot of times in America, we cannot have opposing views and be together. I don't understand why I can't say Ricky and I don't agree on everything, but we're going to come on the Success Journey show and push our message because we know whatever, and we'll work it out. So I fight for you to feel your way, and I fight for her to feel her way.
Right.
That's how it is.
And that's the way I am as well. And then that's what I don't get sometimes is I don't like that.
Right.
But I ain't going on social media and beating her up. I'm not. Outside of her house, with American flags and whatever. Hey, go do your thing. I don't have to like it. That's my choice.
Correct.
And that's where that's where a lot of this civil tension comes from, is because you don't think like me.
Right.
I'm going to be mad at you.
Correct.
You should think like me. Right.
I definitely do see the respect side of the flag. I think that some people don't understand the aspect of the kneeling, the fist, things of that nature, is to, I guess, in a way, highlight the fact that we're not aligning up with what the flag is supposed to represent.
Mm.
So if it's saying for all and equal, and then this, and a large body of people are saying that that's not aligning with what we're claiming to be. I'm not putting our country down. It's just we need to tighten up. We're not aligning with what we say we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And I think that a lot of people can't even argue that if they're open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah, we have some blemishes as far as what we say we do. The American dream versus the American reality doesn't really look the same.
Yeah.
So I don't think a person is wrong for saying, listen, I would gladly if we align with it, but if we're just trying to look good for other countries and then behind closed doors we treat our own like this, meh.
Well, when you're a melting pot, as the United States is, right? Send us your tired, send us your weary. When you're that melting pot, and there are different cultures and there are different beliefs, and different religions and things like that. I recently told my daughter, your world is only so big. My world is only so big. Right? And if people want to join my circle or my world, I have to allow them to do that, and I got to learn who they are, and they got to learn who I am. This young lady who has the issue with the national anthem, I don't live in her world.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know it. You guys have been in my world for the last few years, right? You and I for several.
Right.
And I've chosen to expand my circle or my world, but the issue is there's a lot of worlds that bump up next to each other, but never learn each other, right?
Correct.
And that's where the anger comes in. You don't know what I've been through. No, you're absolutely right. But you don't know what I've been through.
Right.
Yeah, but that we talked about like on the first episode, right? There's always that. And as you know, the three of you got way different experiences than I got. My son is in the Navy right now.
Right.
Marlon, you served for several years. You've seen things, done things, heard things, know things that I will never be able to wrap my head around.
Trust me.
Ricky, you too. I don't, but I don't try to say that you're wrong. I don't try to fight against you and say you're wrong, right? What I have to do is go, why is it that God allowed our lives to cross at this point, right? And I got to try to figure that out. And if all of a sudden, you do something that goes against me or my family, well, then I might kick you out of my circle, right?
Yeah. And it's and that's what I respect about you. I respect about a lot of. I respect somebody just like you said. When you have opposing views and we can have a rational conversation and talk it out, but a lot of times what happens is like I feel like somebody's telling like you should, because you're in America and you're able to get some of the reap some of the rewards of being here, you should feel this way. When another person is saying, well, listen, is the reason why America is such thrust so forward compared to other countries is because they had free labor, which was us, right? And and then you have somebody else saying, well, I read 5 books that tells me that this is the black plight and this is how you should feel. That's great, man. I know you went to Harvard, and I know you did a big illustrious study, and your thesis said African American studies, but you have never walked in a store and somebody says, I'm going to follow you just because I think you're going to steal. So,
you're from there. And again, in my world, that's never happened to me, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, when last year when all the racial tension was spilling over, what did I do? I called people that are African American and go, I got to try to figure this out. What do you guys? What are we going through here? What we've got a good friend, Jr. And his son's a prodigy, right? A quarterback prodigy.
Number 1 quarterback in the nation.
Here's a guy. I've said this story, and I'll say it again. Here's a guy who's got his master's degree. He's a teacher in the school district here, and he would show up to pick his son up after school,
right?
And people, and he's got a nice car. I don't know.
It's a decent car. SUV, like. Yeah,
300 or something. I don't know what it was, right? I don't know. But anyway, it's a nice car. And teachers from his kid's school called DCFS because you must be dealing drugs. Why are you here in the middle of the afternoon in such a nice car?
Correct.
And he works in the same school district.
In the district. I can get off and be there for my child.
So I never had to deal with that. I go pick up my daughter anytime.
Correct. In a jet, and nobody says nothing. You land in a helicopter in the middle of the field, and they say, "Oh, hold on, stop the game. Ken's here. Pick him up."
Right. And that's the interesting thing is that it's what you've felt and in your world.
Right.
And unless you start opening up to people in and understanding their world, you can't. How do we progress, right? And I had a conversation. This will be interesting for you guys too. Just this last week, over the 4th of July about, there was a gentleman there, and he's like, hey, man, this Juneteenth is just a white liberal holiday. Whoa, hold on, wait, what? And he started talking about it. Well, they're tearing down statues, and I said, well, first of all, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you and your family went on vacation and just looked at statues? When was the last time you saw a statue that wasn't Michael Jordan? Never, right? Right. So I'm like, well, they're erasing history. I said, history is being erased every day. Every day. Listen, World War II is not being taught in schools the way it was when I was a kid. I'm 50.
No,
it's not.
It's not. And the people who were involved in that are no longer around. You can talk to my grandpa, who was in the Navy, and they were living in the Upper Peninsula, and they had to turn their lights off at a certain time. And if a plane went overhead, they thought it was the Japanese going to drop bombs on them. We don't get that anymore.
Right.
So history is being erased every day. It's not being remembered because the people who carry those stories are the ones who fall out, right? But the question is, how do we change and make it better moving forward, right? And right now, with bridging civil tension, and what we're trying to do is to tell people, we're not trying to live in the past. We're not trying to forget the past. Right. What we're trying to do is heal from it and move forward.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you touched on the same. You touched on America's the melting pot, but it's not cookie cutter.
Right.
Right. So if we are going to be the melting pot, it can't be only if you're shaped or look like this, and all things are for this. No, we have to understand it. Even in situations like this, not all hair is going to be the same. Ricky. It would be something different. It'd be me, you, and Marlon could say, well, okay, well, if you want to include Ricky with us, like that. Right? We want him in our circle. We have to understand that's what he's doing. Yeah. Awesome. Good for him. Yeah. If we want him to feel included. Yeah, but if we're like, listen, if Ricky wants to hang out with us,
you gotta ball that head.
You gotta ball that up, bro. Sorry. Otherwise, you can't come on the show. Ricky with them, like, what's their problem? It's a natural. So I don't think that you can label yourself as inclusive and then make exclusive decisions if you're trying to be a real melting pot. Well, if you're really trying to bridge.
But how long does it take? I mean, we live in a microwave society, but this change. To where we've gotten to now, and maybe it's just what they call the tipping point, right? But it takes time.
Yeah.
It also takes, just like you go to an AA meeting and says, "Hi, I'm Marlon, and I'm an alcoholic." It takes for somebody to say, "Hi, I'm this, and this is how it's really happening." Other than saying, "We are," just like you said, you go under what's written in a book. The theory of what America is, and then say, oh, but we're doing this over here, but because the theory says this, we are inclusive to everybody. No, You're not really, because why would you tell a kid, why would you cut a kid's hair while he's just about to wrestle?
And
how simple is that?
Yeah. Right. That's not inclusive at all.
No. That's not inclusive.
But hey, we want you as one of us.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't. You know.
Yeah.
I think it goes to when you can really just appreciate just the heart of people for who they are, right? You know what I mean? I think that's where a lot of the hang up is. Everyone is saying it here. Everyone is not going to be the same. There's no way everyone's going to be the same. It's not supposed to be the same. We're not supposed to have the same culture. We're not supposed to be where we're bringing all these different cultures into one place and commingling and living together in one space. Everyone is not going to do the same things the same. And when you get an opportunity to experience, other cultures, other race, what they do, and just appreciate it at its core value for what it is, that's when you'll be able to start, you start seeing some of these barriers broken down. But I don't think a lot of people spend a lot of time with other cultures outside of what media tells them that culture is about. They'll look at, all right, the news tells us that going into the city you're going to expect X, Y, Z. I don't care what city you say right now, right? But you go list them, right? And you're going to see X, Y, Z. Make sure you're careful, but they don't tell about the good things or great people that are in the cities as well. And then so now their perception is, instead of spending time with individuals of other races, they go based off of what someone else tells them, right? Man, I had an awesome experience, and myself growing up is like, my family, they moved to an area where we were the only Black people that were around. Like, man, me, my brothers or whatever, neighbors all around us, no one else was Black. School we went to, no, we were only Black individuals. Even in sports, we were only Black kids on the team, and we'll play against kids that are, in the cities and all the other stuff. And but what it did, it helped us to grow and appreciate, everyone. Them see us for who we are, us see them for who they are. And then grow with that. And then when I went to school, I went to a university where there were more international people from Asia, people from Germany, people from Italy, people from Japan, some Americans, people from the island, and we're all together learning each other's culture. So now it's like I have a full perspective as, hey, my Asian brother here or sister here are from Greece or from Italy. Or from South Africa, or from Nigeria, or from Brazil, or whatever it is. I've had an experience with you. I lived with you on campuses. I worked with you. So now when I see individuals, I can't fully say I'm fully immersed into their culture, right. But for whatever they were able to expose me to during that time, I was able to appreciate. So now I look at a lens from not the differences, but what are the similarities, and how can we now form a culture and a community with each other moving forward, just being one as people, as a man, as a woman, or whatever you choose to be these days, right? So, just being real, whatever it is.
Right.
So that's what, until we start be able to appreciate everyone else and what they are and who they are and what they choose to be in their decisions, there's always going to be that tension. And at the end of the day, no one's going to be right.
Yeah. And there's going to be people out there who do stupid shit that irritates the hell out of you.
Yeah,
correct.
Yes.
No matter what color, creed, you know what I mean? And that's just because they're human. But that doesn't mean I gotta hate you. I can look at you like a dumbass, right?
Yep.
But I don't have to hate you.
Yeah.
And then maybe I get to know you and go, oh well, how about this? Why were you a dumbass like that?
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't help but notice you don't like to think.
So Melissa says, going to take open minds and ears to understand that things happen outside of their own bubble. Took me seeing things for myself to realize that things like being followed for what you look like in a store, it actually does happen. Like the situation in Coles and Crystal Lake. Just because something doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Yeah, but at the same time, we've got listeners, Tobin, who grew up in a rough, white guy who felt the opposite side of that racism, and has been followed in stores and whatnot. It all depends on where you're at. They say if you want to feel racism, travel to a foreign country, right? And you're an American, and I stick out more than y'all do, right? Right? So there is that. That's why I try to tell my kids, I'm like, you have to understand, when you're in elementary school, your world is your elementary school. That's your bubble, right? And then you kind of go to junior high, and some different elementary schools come in, so your bubble gets bigger, and you learn a little bit more. Then you go to high school. Now you're going to college. Your bubble is really going to expand and change, and you've got to allow that and let people in who want to be in. And if there's some people who don't want to be in that bubble that were in from high school, let them go. Right? And that's how you learn, love, and move forward in life. And that's and that's a tough thing to do when there's so much prejudice out there. I mean, I've got friends who are Muslim, who are just beautiful people.
Yeah.
But they're terrorists because they're Muslim. Well, that's a beautiful religion. Learn it, right?
That's crazy, man.
But oh my God, so there's a lot of biases out there, and again, where are you getting your information from?
Right.
Correct. And that's I'm gonna tell you, I think a lot of Americans are not well traveled because for a person like me that goes to, I've been Iraq, Afghanistan, Oman, I've been Budapest, I've been everywhere, right? So just like Ricky said, when I go to Afghanistan, right, I'm going to Afghanistan with the notion that they want to harm me, but we still have to go over there and still win hearts and minds, right? And I sit down and I talk to I'm talking to somebody in a village, and they're explaining to me the history or how their mindset is. From what you're seeing on a TV, it is totally different than what you were taught here in America. Mm-hmm. When you actually sit down, granted, of course, it could lie, whatever, but when you're sitting down and you're trying to gain the essence of what's going on, what are they seeing on the ground, what's happening, it's totally different from what we are getting taught here, that everybody there is just ready to shoot a rocket in your face.
Right.
It's not true.
Yeah, IEDs everywhere, right?
Yeah.
My son, he was out at sea for 10 months there in 2020. And he was over in the Middle East, right? Of course, the Navy, you're kind of safe over there in the water. But, he went to Dubai, right? And he sent me back pictures. Now, I've only been out of the Midwest a few times, right? But I'm like, man, I didn't know that they had civilizations like this over there.
It's gorgeous.
Dubai is like the richest area. Their architecture is incredible. Their technology is off the charts. I had no idea because I never known it, nor did I learn about that.
Yeah, go to Kuwait. Kuwaitis, they're rich. Go to Bahrain. These places are it's totally different than what the best hotels I've ever been in. Middle East.
Really?
Best hotels. The only hotel that could compare to here in the States is in Vegas. That's it. Other than that, I've never been in any hotel here anywhere that stands up to the Middle East.
That's amazing. And I didn't know because what I learned through the media and whatnot was it was mud huts and holes in the ground.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
I had somebody try to sell me. A Lamborghini in Kabul. in Afghanistan, they try to sell. The guy's like, I bought it, but the roads here are no good. You want to buy it? I sell it to you for $60,000. I was like, nah, buddy, I can't take that back home.
How do I get this back, bro?
Tell him you have a friend.
A
bald-headed friend.
We're all brothers, man. Come on.
Let's be honest. The fat white guy's not getting into that Lamborghini.
This is true.
You gotta pry me out of that thing. All right, so we're going into season number 5 of the Success Journey podcast, the Success Journey show. What's on tap for that, guys? Let's plug this because if you haven't listened to this show or you're not plugged into their podcast, it is absolutely one of the best that is out there. These guys have just great content, great just inspiring individuals and entrepreneurs. What's on tap?
Yeah, it's and we're excited because the evolution of our podcast started off with us, Marlon and I, kind of just reuniting after years of being in different areas, him in the military, traveling, me, working and doing my thing, and just us reuniting after years of being away from each other. And so our first couple of seasons was us just, tapping into our different networks and different resources and people, bringing them on the show, telling their journey as we gave just snips of what we were doing in our life up to that point. What's the most exciting for us this season is that we're really going to pull the curtain back and allow everyone to see exactly a lot of things that we've been working on. We'll talk about it a little bit in the show and say, oh, we got this coming out. We're getting ready to do this project, or we're going that project. We're doing inventions and all that kind of stuff. And, we give a little sneak peeks, but this season is going to be, hey, pull the curtain back, let people actually see this is what we've been working on for these last couple of years behind the scenes, and allow people to be a part of the journey with us. So, you guys stay tuned. Of course, we'll have some guests on as well that are going to be working with us and just coming and sharing their story. We're working on some high level guests, guys, to bring in. That you'll be surprised that they give us some time just to share their story with us. But it's all in the essence of, just showing that behind the scenes, helping create that perspective of what success is and how it's relative. That everyone, if you just possess, we wear these shirts here that we have, the dream, drive, discipline, and diligence, our core values to success, and try to share that in every story that we release to the world. So, yeah, Marlon, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
Yeah, we just want to be the change in terms of, we talk about success, and a lot of times people don't relate to you, because if you see everybody right now, they're kind of like a used car salesman, right? Everybody's like, hey, I'll show you how I took pens and put them on Amazon and made $1 million. I can show you, just buy this program, right? So what we're doing is we're trying to actually show people. That's why we're pulling back the curtains, to not only talk about success, but show you what you have to do in order to be successful. I.e., we're closing on as a show. Each of us have different portfolios when it comes to real estate, but we're as a show now. We have taken the Success Journey Show LLC, and we have bought a building in or a asset in Baltimore, and we're going to show the evolution of how we bought it, cleaned it up, and then what we're doing with it in order to propel the Success Journey Show as an LLC. Also, Ricky's wife went through breast cancer. Right now, she's going through radiation that she does every day except for the weekends. Correct, Rick?
Yeah.
And we want to show that evolution, that even while we were going through and we had to show that face of, hey, this is what you could do to be successful, and talking to people, that Ricky at the same time was taking his wife to do chemo. Ricky had to be filling in for his wife to drop the kids to school, take the kids to the martial arts. Same thing on my end of doing all the things that we had to do in the backdrop just to be able to be successful. Because I see a lot of people right now, they're thinking just because their plate is full that they could just say, I tap out, I'm done, I can't. Life goes on. So we just want to show you what you can do in terms of resiliency, the dream, drive, discipline, and diligence, the quad Ds. If you apply that in any area of your life, that you can be successful, and all you have to do is put your feet or your hand to the plow and keep on working. And success is not a microwave era. Yes, you might come up with an app, and tomorrow somebody might buy it for $1 billion. However, we don't want to talk about the people that are 1 in a million. We want to talk about what the average person is going through. So that's what we're trying to do in order to show you, to grow generational wealth and all these different things that we want to, gamut of things that we want to show everybody out there, our travelers, and we want you to be a part of our show. Just jump on and we'll definitely take you on a ride and show you the Success Journey Show.
Yeah, it's amazing. So they air here on Wednesday evenings. So we get their show after it's been live. But we air them here on Wednesday evenings. And back in May, we don't have June's numbers yet, but back in May, and these are reruns because we were between seasons, still grabbing 75,000 to 80,000 listeners for the show each week, which is good. Now with the new content coming in, and the new website that's going to be coming to 21.6, we're going to see those numbers go up, because it is so inspirational. But I mean, if you're interested in improving yourself, if you're interested in moving ahead, getting better, these are the types of shows, types of podcasts that you have to tune into.
Right.
Tune into Joe Rogan. He's great and wonderful and entertaining. But if you want stuff that can get you, your business, your career, your family life to that next level, the Success Show. I mean, that's
yeah. I don't know if you got caught. Ricky, did you send them the last? We had the coach on from Last Chance U. I don't know if you watched Last Chance U.
Yeah. For the basketball?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had him on. That was a special episode that we aired a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if we sent you that one over, Ricky. I think Ricky's our guy. So it is so inspirational that, yes, Joe Rogan, you can listen to Joe Rogan, you can listen to the Joe Button podcast, you can listen to all these different podcasts. And I say Joe Button because you remind me of, you ever get that?
I see what you did there. I see what you did. Okay. Game on, sir. Game on. You said it, and I was like, I wonder if.
Oh man, yeah. You can listen to all the different podcasts, but what we're trying to do, we're trying to just give you something that'll edify, and also we're trying to put steps now in order to take people to where they need to go.
Yeah. And so, where can they find you guys at?
On every platform. You could find us on iTunes. You can find us on Google Play. You can find us on Breaker. You can find us on every platform. We actually have this thing that if somebody finds a platform that we're not on, we will ship you a shirt for free. So if you find, because of the pandemic, a lot of other different podcast apps came out that we're probably not privy to or we didn't know. But if you find one that we're not on, send it to us and we will send you a free T-shirt.
Yeah, you can get us at and all of our content, our store, books, T-shirts, whatever it may be, products we have on the successjourneyshow.com, and you can access everything from there. The successjourneyshow.com.
That's it. I'm going to take them off the air here so they can send us a couple T-shirts.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you're no longer on there.
Yes, sir.
I want
Need you on the platform.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Hey, you know what? I can't thank you guys enough for taking time. And you're East Coast, so this is like in the dead middle of the morning, right early in the morning, like it is here. And anytime our door is open here for you guys. Anytime you want to jump on, I absolutely love you guys. What you do, what you stand for, and how you're changing the world with what you're doing. Just blessed and humbled to call you friends and partners in this journey. So.
Yes, sir.
I definitely appreciate you, Ken, man. Been nothing but a blessing since we met a couple of years ago, and really appreciate all that you're doing and all the energy that you're putting out in this world. Is because of people like you and Phil that this world keeps turning around, I believe. And the more and more positive messages that we can get out there, the better and better our society is going to be, not just for us, but the future to come. So appreciate you and all that you guys are doing.
All right.
Pump it up.
Ricky, we appreciate you, your waves, military, Mr. Cooper. We love you, man. Yeah, I do this. Come on now.
I love it.
Much love, guys. Definitely, guys.
All right, fellas.
Thanks, everybody. On the net. Come back tomorrow morning. Come back later this afternoon. Whatever. Just tune in because we got.
All right. Peace.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Marlon.
No problem. All right, Phil.
All right, Marlon.